All right. What's going on, everybody? This is Bridging the Geekdoms, and this is my second live stream. So how's it going? I'm Robert Slavinsky, and I got a special guest today, somebody who I've gotten to know a little bit through social media the past few weeks here, and that's Syl. I mean, he does a lot. I mean, I know that you contribute to the Culture Nerd from time to time. I know that you do your own podcast now, or over on YouTube. I don't know. Are you on the are you doing just audio, or is it just video right now?
Right now, just video. But yeah, I'm going to convert to audio, soon, like with Spotify or something.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So I got Syl here. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things regarding the DCEU, but most importantly today, we're going to talk about all the shenanigans that partook over the last 48 hours. Not even, it's been 24 hours that has happened. Now, before we get into all that, though, I do have another guest here. He's my editor-in-chief of Spoilerverse. He's the guy that brought me into the Spoilerverse, got me on a network, pushed me to do more podcasting. I've been podcasting for a few years, but he's really pushed me to do a lot more. And that is John from Spoiler Country. Hey, there he is. How's it going, man? So what is it that brings you here today?
Well, one, you asked me to join. And I
said, okay. Yes. Well, thanks.
Just asking me. No, it's so the Spoilerverse, as people who've listened to me talk ad nauseum about it, is basically a collective of a bunch of people like-minded who just want to make awesome content and have fun and put out a positive vibe out there. And we are always looking for new people to, who want to come share what we do, whether that be doing interviews, working on the website, doing graphics, doing podcasts, whatever. We're looking to have people come join us and nurture what they know already, teach them what we know, and also learn from them as well. So we have a link up which we can share out to shoot us a message if you're interested. I think it's just, do you know what the link is by heart, Arbor? Is it just join the cult or?
Yeah, it's Spoilerverse. Here, you know what? Let me do this real quick. Let me jump over here. I got this whole new program. I need to start using it, I think. Yep. Gonna jump over here, and right here up on spoilerverse.com, join us.
There you go.
And there you go. Join the cult. That sounds so wrong.
on our show, Henry Cars goes, join the cult. When he's from.
But yeah, there's different things you can
podcast. We have reviews, we have previews, we do so much stuff, and we have so much content coming into us right now from Marvel, from DC, from IDW, from Oni Press. All these publishers are sending us books to read, and we literally don't have enough time to read and review them all. So we're opening it up to people out there to say, hey, if you want to come be a part of the Spoilerverse, whether it is reading reviews, doing press releases, just working on podcasts, doing interviews, because we have. If you've watched Spoiler Country, we release pretty much 5 to 7 episodes a week with interviews, and we have interviews scheduled almost every single night. So we are opening it up to the world. If anybody's interested out there that thinks maybe they'd fit into the mold of what we do, we're fast-talking West Coast smartasses, so I'll put that out there so you know. But we like to make sure we have fun, and we don't want to do anything that's not just positive and fun. So that's really it.
Yeah, excellent, man. Yeah, thanks for coming in. I try and tell it to everybody, every podcast. Hey, join us, come find us, find us on social media, all that kind of stuff, because since it's been about a year now that I've been part of Spoilerverse. And I mean, where I was last year to where I am now, I've definitely grown myself in not just what I'm capable of doing, but even in getting my name out there. I mean, my social media has jumped up quite a bit, and if you're somebody who wants to get into this medium in some form or fashion, whether it's writing for a website, becoming a journalist, doing podcasts, doing YouTubes, this is a great opportunity to jump in, because there's almost no cost except for your time and your effort right now to get in on this and learn how to do it. So I think it's perfect.
That's a good point. Right now, if you do a podcast, can cover all the costs for all the podcasts. So it's no chart, just your time. So.
Yeah, especially if you're fans of this. If you're fans of this genre, it's just like you're just having a fun,
Yeah. And I know, like me, for instance, Bridging the Geekdoms, we've been covering a lot of current news, what's going on. John's sitting there talking about all the different stuff that he's doing over at Spoiler Country and all the different interviews and stuff that he has, and it's fantastic. But you're not just limited to that. I do help out when I can with Spoiler Country and everything that he's doing there, but I'm also doing a lot on my own and doing things for my own show, and it's a lot of fun. I recommend, if you're somebody who has the urge or even just a little bit of a wonder of what it's like to be in this medium, give us a shout and give us a shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
And with that, I bid you adieu. Have fun talking about what you're talking about.
All right, thanks,
All
man.
right.
Thanks for coming.
I'll talk to you soon, John.
Yeah, man. Yep.
All right, so that was fun. I wanted to get that out of the way. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I'm the first show on the network to start doing consistent live shows on YouTube, and we're trying to get people onto the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that's kind of why I brought him on today. I might do it from time to time. I'm trying to get him to do more live, but hey, look, we actually have some people watching. That's crazy. What's going on, guys? All right. So I kind of just want to get into it here because it was pretty crazy what happened over the last few days. And I know I was watching your stream a little bit ago before I jumped over here, and I kind of want to talk about this article right here.
Awesome.
This is what we're going to start. This is our starting point, and we're going to go forward from here.
That's the news of the day.
Nerd, the culture nerd, who I respect. I have only talked to Taylor very little. Marcus and TJ Bravo I talk to quite often now, as well as yourself, who I know you're not part of the culture nerd, but I know you've contributed, and just like with me, you respect everybody over there.
Right.
Now, Marcus threw out this article yesterday, exclusive, Ryan Reynolds being eyed for Carter Hall, Hawkman, and Black Adam. And social media went a frenzy. Absolutely insane. I get it. There's been, since the announcement of Zack Snyder's Justice League back on May 20th, there has not been a week that has gone by where we haven't had maybe 3 or 4 rumors pop up.
Mm-hmm.
And here we go. I mean, right now, we got one of these rumors. People are sitting there talking about Ryan Reynolds for the past, 6 weeks now?
Pretty much, yeah. Probably longer.
Probably longer. About being Green Lantern in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, I know that I've heard, and I've talked to some people here and there. I heard weeks ago, but actually it was May 23rd. I have saved a message. So I make sure I got the right date. I look at the date. It's May 23rd. I heard about Ryan Reynolds and Green Lantern. And I went and questioned a couple people, and they're like, "No, there's nothing to that." And I was like, "You're probably right. It's just probably fan speculation, fan casting." Jump up to June 23rd. Grace Randolph is like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And she posts that she has heard that he's going to be Green Lantern in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which I don't know why. I don't know why she would say that, because it makes no sense. It really doesn't. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
That's been the speculation since then, that he's going to be Green Lantern. I know that Taylor talked on Lightcast, which I saw him pop up in the feed here. What's going on, Lightcast?
Lightcast in the house.
I know that Taylor talked on there that said, if it is for Green Lantern, because at the time, this is a few weeks back, Taylor was like, if that's the case, if it's for Green Lantern, there's another movie going on that they're casting for that it would make more sense, and that was the Flash film. 6 weeks goes by, and here we are. We have this article come out that, okay, yeah, Warner Brothers was talking to Ryan Reynolds, but it just so happens that it could be for Hawkman. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, pretty much just like you. We hear these rumors of Green Lantern, and one thing that, like I'm going to touch on my channel going forward, is the evidence that we have, that we can find, that Zach already shot his Green Lantern footage for a different, not Ryan Reynolds. So that's what's going to kind of come up on my my exposés that I'm going to be doing. But so hearing this news, like I said last week, a few days ago, I heard possibly he's being talked about for a different role. Mm-hmm. And I kind of brought this up earlier, but they was like, this is what we're hearing, but don't say nothing. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna sit on and wait till something comes up, and the Culture Nerd happened to be the people that come up with it, and I believe that they heard his name among other people. We'll see, and I'm sure you'll go further as far as what happened after that, but just initially I was like, okay, I think there's some validity to him being talked about for that role. And I mean, I sit there and who I've talked to at the Culture Nerd and listening to Taylor when he talks and what he states, this isn't something that they just go and they say, oh, look, this looks interesting, post it. They vet this. They take a look. They get multiple sources that say, yes or no, this is happening, or this is a good possibility, or this is what's going on. I can't imagine that something like this, especially when it comes to somebody like Ryan Reynolds, they're just going to pull out of the hat and say, yep, this looks good today. I really believe that they did their due diligence here, and what they believe is absolutely this. But the big thing is you have to look at the wording. People are freaking out and making it like, oh, he's already cast. No, the big thing. Being eyed right there, like that's huge. Being eyed for Carter Hall. That all that truly means is that they've either have discussions with him. They may have even just gone to him and said, hey, you're our number one choice, we want you to be it. But there's also a list of other people that they're looking at. I don't understand why there's so much. That's a normal thing. That's a normal thing with this too, Robert, is that when you have these casting calls, there's always 3 or 4 people, sometimes 5 or 6 names. And they probably have one that's circled that they really want. If they pass it, they go, so this is a normal thing that you would actually hear behind the scenes. Just a Culture Nerd kind of put it out there. Yeah.
So we have that comes out yesterday. Social media goes into a frenzy. I get into work today. I literally walk into work, sit down at my desk, and I see on my phone, social media is essentially blowing up again. And they're like, holy crap, this happened. And Ryan Reynolds posted that. I'm not playing Hawkman and Black Adam, although I generally do whatever the hell The Rock tells me to do.
Interesting.
I would, however, love to be in Zack Snyder's Justice League movie, and I've heard I may already be in it. # Snyder Cut.
Troll 101.
Come on.
Troll 101.
Like I sit there and again, I had that up and people were freaking out. See, the Culture Nerd, they don't know what they're talking about. He's in the Snyder Cut, blah, blah, blah. And I made sure I threw this up. I was like, okay, maybe Reynolds is not Hawk.
I like that tweet. Yeah.
Maybe Reynolds is in Zack Snyder Justice League. But 100%, Reynolds 100% loves to fuck with people. It's that
exactly.
So let's just see what happens.
And then The Rock likes to fuck with people. So it's like, man, crazy.
Yeah, it's at this point, at this juncture, I just, and the whole story, what can you say? It's kind of like they're going to take what he says as like the written law. They don't sit there and think about it like, okay, it's Ryan Reynolds. He loves to screw around. He loves to have fun with people. He's been doing it for 6 weeks. He got Hugh Jackman involved with it a couple weeks ago.
Exactly. I mean, and that's why I said before, Ryan Reynolds, he's owning the summer right now. Like whatever role he gets next, he's going to get a nice contract. He's going to demand, so he's playing this perfectly. And like you say, you go off of just what he says. You can't take him seriously. You can't. You can't take that serious. He's like double speaking the whole time. You got Steve in the chat. He's an actor. He always called that actor speak. That's how actors speak. That's how Jason Momoa denied his role. And, and I'm not saying like, oh, I actually don't want Ryan Reynolds to be Hawkman, to be quite honest. I'd rather Michael B. Jordan, to be quite honest.
Oh, dude, that is a way better casting choice.
But if Ryan Reynolds gets it, it's like, cool. Okay, I'm down with it because I trust, like I said, the sources on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't want to be that guy that calls out these other people, but I do have to point something out, because where everybody on Twitter is getting their information is they're sitting there saying, well, these other scoopers are saying this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not understanding that they don't know what the hell they're talking about either. Like,
yeah, it's guessing. I mean, like I put up the picture of Grace was talking about Army Hammer, which, hey, it's like his name has been tossed around a lot. Yeah, but it's just kind of, all of a sudden you just throw another name out there, and he has to be a white male, because that's her angle now, is that she heard Hawkman has to be a white male, so she's going to throw names out there right now.
Yeah. So I'm throwing this up here because this was a conversation on her Twitter feed that she was having, and I laugh at it because she goes, Green Lantern sure is on his mind the last 24 hours. And somebody's like, make a video, because all she does is make videos all day. I don't know how she makes money, because all she does is make videos. And she goes, I'll make a video when it's official and I can share more on the details. I already know. I don't want to jeopardize the deal. So is there a deal or is there not a deal? Like, what would there be to jeopardize if you know that it's happening? Like, that's,
yeah. I'm just saying, it's like Grace, I've been a fan of Grace in the past. And so I never want to get into the habit of, like, like you said, we don't want to diss too many people. So it's just grasping for straws. That's what I see that she's doing. She's grasping for straws, like whatever. When one thing gets knocked down, she's like, well, there's not a deal yet, but they're still talking, and it's going to get to the point where, well, okay, the deal just, it fell through. That's why he's not Green Lantern, because it fell through. So I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you kind of broke up there, but no, you're right. I mean, I don't know if it was my connection or yours. I don't know. It's kind of raining off and on here where I'm at, so it could be my connection.
Okay, we'll blame you.
No. Yeah, we'll blame me. Fine. Yeah. It's only my second time doing a video. You guys can forgive me, right?
You good. You're amongst friends, You're amongst friends here.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to everything, I will always encourage everybody to go out and get their own information. Figure out what you can, how you can on your own. You don't need to take what somebody else says as 100% certainty. I question, and this is me respecting the culture nerd, I still question some of the things that they put out there, because some of it, like even this specific article, when they were like Ryan Reynolds, I was like, heck yeah, that'd be cool. But is that role good for him? Like, and I don't see Warner Brothers giving the role to somebody that it isn't 100% perfect for.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that doesn't mean that he's not being eyed, that he hasn't been discussed. That's what people need to realize.
I think that's what people are falling into, is that they looking at it just like you, Robert, where that was my first reaction. I was like, Hawkman, when I first heard it, I was like, I kind of want like just someone a little more, menacing than Ryan Reynolds to be Hawkman. That's a good conversation to have, but just to totally deny that these talks have been done. Like, I had one person in my chat earlier, he was like, oh, it's all made up. This is made up. And it's like, dude, I know you don't have sources. So how you going to tell somebody that it's made up, So we got to get past that conversation of denying that the talks were actually happening. And let's talk about, hey, do you like him in a role or not?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what that's where the conversation needs to go. Like, there's so much of this, let's bash on this scooper, let's bash on this scooper. And I kind of just did it myself, but let's discuss the potential. Let's take a look and see, okay, what is the potential of this actor or actress becoming this role? Let's talk about it. How cool would it be? Would it not be cool? Instead of sitting there bashing each other. That's what I would prefer.
Yeah, and that's the angle. As soon as I heard about the casting or the potential casting, and then they told me about The Rock, the angle of that The Rock actually wanted him to be in the movie. I was like, okay, now I kind of could see The Rock saw something, and he probably wants. I don't know if it's going to be comedic, but The Rock saw something to want Ryan Reynolds in it. So I was like, okay, I kind of could buy it a little more if it's true.
Yeah, definitely. And I can't find his tweet. Did he take it down? The Rock's tweet? I'm not seeing it here. It happened, like his tweet came out as I was actually, I left work and I had to stop at Lowe's real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see his tweet now.
No,
I really don't.
If I have it saved, you could share my screen.
I might actually. I think I sent it to somebody else. Here, I might have it here.
Yeah, I still see it actually.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't see it. All right, and we'll do this. Yeah, I mean, he then tweets out, and it was fantastic because I was shocked that he would actually do this, and he goes, and this is a retweet or responding to Ryan Reynolds, not replying, not a retweet, but replying. You are playing Hawkman. That's that. You're also Deadpool, Green Lantern when you want because you own the intellectual property. You're in Zack Snyder's JL movie, and you're also Kevin Hart's Kevin Hart's dad, like in real life, as per your blood test. Now, the funny thing about that is he's trolling. Like, he's absolutely trolling 100%. And nobody wants to is there a cat in here or something? I don't know. But I mean, he's trolling, and it gets to my point where Ryan Reynolds, he is somebody who loves to screw with people. So he'll sit there and pull people, his friends that he knows like to do the same thing, or even if they don't like to do it, he still pulls them in, like he did with Hugh Jackman. He pulls him in, and he just did that with The Rock. And none of that, like you can't take any of that seriously. You just can't. Actors are not going to joke about roles that they may get or that they may not get. Now, they will deny if they're not in something, and that takes me back to his first tweet. If you remember, his first tweet specifically says, I'm not playing Hawkman and Black Adam, although I generally do what the hell The Rock tells me to do. That's a little playful fun. I would, however, love to be in Zack Snyder's Justice League movie, and I've heard I may be in it. He's joking around. He's, again, is he Hawkman? Is he going to be Hawkman? Maybe, maybe not. He says he's not, but there's no deal. So why would he say he is if there's no deal?
Right. Just like we talked about with Jason Momoa. Will you tell the guy he could punch him in the face if he becomes Aquaman? And, it eventually happened. And, they made a joke of him punching Jason in the face. So you just can't totally rule out the discussion. The discussion happened. We can't rule that out. Whether it happens or not, then, we'll see.
Yeah. Now, I try to stay away from this whole bashing other scooper thing, but what do you take, or how are you taking all this negative light that they're pushing on the cultured nerd right now?
Well, like I said, it's kind of weird because I consider the cultured nerd friends. I got a chance to talk to Taylor a lot when he had to kind of take breaks because he has like anxiety or depression or at times. So he has to take a break from the madness. So I kind of see what that does to him. Me, myself personally, like I said before, I mean, you could tell me you hate TCN all you want. It's like, that's not like my wife or something. Like, but I mean, I don't like you talking about my friends, But, it's just, I look at it. I trust the vetting processes they have. I will always stand behind that. Unless something comes out. And that's one thing too. And I'll say it on this platform as well, is that I have other relationships with people where I can kind of take other sources and run them by the Culture Nerd, or when a Culture Nerd comes up with an article, I can go to another source and kind of see what they heard. So I have an interesting situation where I can really kind of compare a lot of information. And if one side isn't, coming up, I don't have no problem saying like, hey, I don't believe this. I just haven't yet with the Culture Nerd. So
yeah, I don't get it. I just, they're all in it for the same. Well, you would think that it's for the same thing. However, we know it's not, but it's all about getting the information out, being excited in the potential and the possible breaking news that could come out of everything. And that, to me, I see that with Taylor. I see that with the Culture Nerd. I see Marcus. I see TJ. When they post these things, they're excited to do so. They're excited to get this information out there because they think people are going to love this. And I feel so bad because it then turns around on them and it becomes just social media bashing them constantly. And I think that's unfair. I get people don't want to get their hopes up for something that may not be.
Right.
But that's what the scoop game is. The scoop game is, let's hear what we're hearing and we got a few confirmations that this could happen. Let's put it out. It is on you, the individual, the viewer, the people who want to get excited. It's on you to sit there and say, do I want to run with this and get excited about it? Do I want to maybe hold back my excitement? Or do I just want to, hey, let's go. Let's woohoo. This is awesome. Yeah. Like that's on the viewer. That's on that person, the fan, to sit there and bash the Culture Nerd. And, there's other scoopers out there who get bashed. If you're going to sit there and bash them, try and go do it yourself. Do it yourself.
Well, people got to understand, and I'm talking about within the Snyder Cut fandom, everybody don't have the same sources. I know that for a fact now, that everybody don't have the same sources. So if one side is not hearing something, that literally just means you don't know the people that's giving the information. And that's one thing I'm going to touch on too, on some of my videos going forward, is that there is a gatekeeping agenda. Like you said, people want to be first.
Yeah.
That's just a scoop game. That's true. But people got to realize too, there's a shift. The sources are actually realizing that they don't want to give the information to gatekeepers as well. Like, realize, why is Taylor Murphy getting all this information before most people? Because maybe they like Taylor better. And that's what these people that's kind of getting upset. I don't think they realize that. Maybe, their relationship with these sources aren't as good as Taylor's.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. I think he does it in a way that he does it respectful. He doesn't just take something and run with it and throw it out there. He goes, hey, this is what I've heard. I've confirmed it on multiple fronts, and this is what I'm hearing. And that's that. He leaves it at that. He doesn't dive more in. He doesn't dive into it and saying, well, let's speculate this. Let's do this. I mean, he does that with some things, and anybody's going to do it. But the information, the news that the scoop that he gets, he just puts that out there. He doesn't speculate on the scoop per se with the fans. He's like, here's the information. Now let's run with it. Let's see. What do you think? What could possibly happen?
I do tease him though, that Ryan Reynolds article, the first day exclusive, that was a little clickbaity because it's just like Ryan Reynolds, and then it was like, well, there are 3 other people too that's in the body. So I was like, okay, I get it, but hey, that's what the titles is about. It's about getting your attention.
Yeah. I hate clickbait. I do.
No, that was a clickbait, Taylor. If you watch this, that was
100% Taylor clickbait.
I love you though.
And I find myself wanting to do the same thing over on Spoilerverse. Whenever I write an article, it's like because you want the clicks, but then I sit back and I'm like, that's too clickbaity. People are gonna get pissed off if they they click on it and it's not exactly that, or that's all it is. Like, I don't want clicks for that. I just want people to, hey, check out this article, read about it, and then give me your opinion. That's all I want. I'm not a big fan of clickbait, and I do criticize. There are sites out there, and I absolutely despise that they're comparing TCN with those sites, because TCN is nothing like those sites at all.
No.
They don't make up stories and just post them like these other sites do. George Lucas is taking over Star Wars again, and they're
and see, that's the thing, and they get so much support, but it's about the fandom, and that's why I for lack of a better word, I blame the fandom, because Star Wars, you got the whole Phantom Menace thing, so they, but then they're kind of divided too. You got some of them don't like what Doomcock does and stuff like that. So in the Snyder Cut, or the DC side, it's literally we all got the win. We got the Snyder Cut coming, but everybody wants to get information first, and it's getting a little messy right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's, again, I sit there and I take a look at what TCN does and what they've been doing. And honestly, I mean, if you've talked to Taylor, if you've seen his interviews with Matt over at Lightcast, he talks about his story and how things have changed over the course of the last couple of years, how he walked away and came back and all that stuff. And since the Culture Nerd has been back, and I'm going to say more specifically from like March of this year until now, they have been one of the most solid sites to go to. Yeah. They have really interesting topics. They're not just about scoops. Yeah, they throw scoops up here and there, but they do other articles that are really interesting. And they did one the other day about Mary Elizabeth Winstead and her being an actress. So like, to me, that's what I want to see a site doing. I want you to take it and put opinion pieces on there, and eventually you're going to build, and you're going to get those interviews. You're going to get those exclusives a lot more often. And that's what I think the Culture Nerd is doing. They're doing a hell of a job doing it.
Yeah. I mean, the same as you. I mean, that's when I discovered them, was earlier this year. And that Snyder Cut articles what really drew me to the Culture Nerd, because they were talking about the Snyder Cut coming out in March, and we know the announcement didn't come to May. Yeah. And so they laid out the groundwork as far as what Zach was doing behind the scenes. He signed the production deal with WB through his Stone Quarry production company. That laid the groundwork for him to return. But people didn't know that. Out in the open, they were saying, oh, the Snyder Cut, they hate Zack Snyder. The WB hates him. Never work with him again. So when I saw that the Culture Nerd had sources that was actually talking about the progress behind the scenes, and then we get the announcement, I was like, oh, wow. Like, they got something there. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta do your own research on that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we've talked a good bit about the whole Green Lantern and Hawkman and everything like that. But what I want to do now is I kind of want to shift a little bit, because I really enjoy when you get passionate about subjects. I've seen you on other shows. I've seen you on your own show. When you get passionate, you really get into it. Yeah. And I have a question for you, because this is a debate that goes on within the Spoilerverse, within the people who work at the Spoilerverse.
Okay.
And it has to do with Zack Snyder's vision of Superman. All right. I'm currently writing an article that I'm hopefully going to get out this week. I really want to make it as good as I can. So I'm working really, really hard on it. But I want to get your opinion on Superman and his arc from Man of Steel through Batman vs Superman, and obviously what you expect to see after that, because this is kind of my go-to question now. Every time I talk to people, I kind of talked with Marcus and TJ about it the other day. I think it was last week. We touched on it, so I want to get your opinion on it now.
Well, as far as his arc, I mean, like I said, I think Man of Steel was a beautiful setup for a Superman story. Get into BVS. I think with the hindsight of what we saw to the development, we're left with an incomplete story, but showing Superman in a real life environment, an alien, basically, trying to coexist on Earth. Man of Steel set it up perfectly. Then you get to BVS, you see the public is split. And that's literally what will happen in our world today. You got people, political, religion. So you have all this division. And so I thought that was such a real world, touch to it. And then you had the whole montage of him saving different people and stuff like that. You got Neil deGrasse Tyson talking over it. so it's like, it was such a perfect setup to how will we react if this person really existed in our world.
Yeah.
And then I did feel that his death was rushed. That's not too many things I question what Zack Snyder does, but that is one thing I was like, like they kind of just met each other.
Yeah.
But by this time we would have already had the real Justice League movie, and I would have saw how that tied together better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little incomplete with, I do feel that it was kind of rush progression, or like rushing a point to kill him off.
Yeah.
To set up the return. But like I said, it's kind of an incomplete story. So that's what I'm kind of waiting to see, is kind of the other side of that. Because I really did want to see more of that interaction. But then on the other hand, I look at it like this: what Zach brought up with Grace Randolph on the interview is that it's not that he just wanted to rush some evil Superman complex. It's just you don't want Superman in God mode in the first movie or even the second movie of a 5-part arc. Because if he already has it figured out, truth, justice, and merit, whatever, if he already has that figured out, then there's no more arc to his story.
No.
He's the man of tomorrow. He's, so we just caught the very beginning of that arc. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just waiting to see, how that continues.
Yeah. No, I mean, you bring up some good points. And I, for one, I'm going to go back to rushing the death of Superman. I kind of agree in a way. We saw it, 7 years prior, during Superman Returns. We saw the death of Superman there, which was a big disappointment in that storyline when that movie came out. But from one standpoint, I understand why they went that route, because we have yet to see all of Snyder's complete arc. And in the grand scheme of things, when we would see from the beginning to the very end, it would probably all make sense. And when you would sit there, it wouldn't feel rushed. My issue, though, comes where, and I credit Matt from Lightcast for this all the time, because he was on my show a couple months back and he said this and something just clicked. And Man of Steel being what is probably my favorite superhero movie of all time, I think it is the best origin story for a superhero, and I think it's one of the top 3 superhero stories or movies of all time. But he made a very good point that Man of Steel is not a Superman movie. It's not. It is a Clark Kent movie. And when you watch it with those eyes, and you sit there and you go, okay, this is a Clark Kent movie, it makes so much more sense. And then you see the connections, the lessons that he learns as Clark Kent and Man of Steel come into play in Batman vs. Superman. And I don't want to spoil it, but there's the death scene is in a way it is alluded to. It is in Man of Steel. And it's brilliant how it's done. And that's kind of what my article is going to be on. It's talking about Superman and why this is the quintessential version of Superman that we should all respect and we should all enjoy, because you can love what Christopher Reeves did. You can love what they've done in the comics. You can love Tom Welling. You can love whoever you want to love and enjoy as Superman. That's all on you. But Zack Snyder understands his character probably more than anybody else has, and he did it in a way where he first introduces you to a Clark Kent story before jumping into the Superman stuff. And I think that is what is so important and why this arc is so different than what we've seen before.
Yeah, definitely different take. And I still believe we had some kind of help from Christopher Nolan in that Man of Steel as well. I do believe he helped Zach just kind of, developing the setup. But yeah, that's one of the close to perfect movies I know, Man of Steel.
For sure. Now, I'm going to jump in. I do see a question here. We'll go ahead and answer it from Lucas Perez. Do you believe that we will get some confirmation of Batfleck in DC fandom? I'll take this first. I don't have the kind of information and insider scoops that Sil has, or my friends over at DC or DC at TCN have. I do hear things from time to time. I will say this. I think that what's going on with Batfleck, I think a lot of it relies on the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I really do believe that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that we're not going to get any information at DC Fandom, because we could. Mm-hmm. But I really truly believe that if we want to see Snyder's universe grow, that Zack Snyder's Justice League has to be successful. And Batfleck and his series or movie or whatever it's going to be isn't going to happen unless that movie is successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a really good way to look at it, just the business side of it. Why would you pump a lot of money into projects until you get that first return with Zack Snyder's Justice League, which basically AT&T, you got to look at it like this. They didn't have to put much money into this compared to a real blockbuster movie. They probably only paid like a third or less than a half to finish up the vision and get like net returns. Mm-hmm. So you got to look at it like that. But as far as with Batfleck specifically, I believe we'll get some kind of confirmation as far as, at the very least, that Zach will continue his story. So you'll get more Batfleck that way. A lot of people looking for confirmation is looking for the Batfleck movie, Batfleck series. I think that's something we do have to wait on. But we'll get some kind of indication that, are we going to get another performance from Batfleck? And I would take that in a Justice League follow-up or a Batfleck movie. But I think we'll find out at Fandom.
I hope so. I really do. There's so much. If it wasn't for Ryan Reynolds, the talk of the town would still be Ben Affleck. right. Let's face it. And that was the big debate going on in June. Mm-hmm. And then the Ryan Reynolds stuff came up, and that kind of got shoved under the rug a little bit. And it was Batfleck again until Justice Con, which was an amazing convention.
Yes.
And then it's kind of disappeared again. The whole Batfleck stuff has disappeared. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's so many people out there that want to say there's no deal made. I trust who I've spoken with and have heard what is on that 100%. That's why I'm not going to sit here and say we're not going to hear anything at DC Fandom, but I'm also not going to say we are definitely, because I think that there are other things and other pegs that have to move into certain holes for it to come to fruition and to be, hey, this is happening. But again, who doesn't want to see Batfleck?
If Ben Affleck shows up at Fandom, that'll be interesting.
That's the thing, and that's what I keep telling people, especially on social media, is if Cavill pops up, if Batfleck or Ben Affleck pops up, if these people pop up, they're not going to be there just to promote Justice League. They've done that already. They don't really need to just promote Justice League. I think if they pop up, I think it's going to be for, hey, we're going to have more Superman, or we're going to have more, Batman with Ben Affleck. That's what I think is going to be a telling sign, is if they pop up there. And I'm still interested to see how the format is going to work for Fandom, because they haven't really revealed that yet.
Right.
And, I think that's going to play a big role, because what is their main focus going to be on? Do you really think that they're going to allow announcing Ben Affleck back as Batman overshadow Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson's Batman?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
You can't, that's a movie, and Ben Affleck is, I think, a producer on that. Is he not? Yeah. I can't imagine Affleck would be like, yeah, I'll overshadow that. Like, he's going to help push that as well. And we could very well get a short little tease of that movie. I'm not saying we are, but I think they filmed about a month and a half. So they might have something small that they can throw together, a little 90-second tease that they could throw in. And that is what they want to be the talk of the town, not Affleck back as Batman, because they have more money riding on the Batman right now than they would on Ben Affleck's Batman.
Well, think about this. I mean, that's good logic that you're using. That why would you pump up Affleck and you got Battison? You're trying to, do as well. But the concept of DC fandom has been multiverse. They've been talking about multiverse, the whole time. So the thing that we're looking at too is that they already promoting the Justice League movie that has a Batman, and you have Pattison. So you already have two Batman going on already.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So, but if they're really pushing multiverse, then I don't see a problem with them doing both.
No, you're right. I don't know. The Keaton stuff that's popped up, I think is, and real quick, yes, fandom is going to be fire. 100%. I just don't see them with Keaton. He's
that's another thing. Yeah. Keaton.
I don't want to say he's a has-been because people are excited about it. And if he comes out, people are going to be like, holy crap, Keaton's back for the Flash movie or for this movie or whatever it is. People are going to be excited, but it's not a solo Batman flick or show. And I think that's bigger. The idea of a movie or show is bigger than just a cameo or a small supporting role in something like the Flash. That's my only thing. And again, I'm here to not get your get your hopes way up and then you be crushed and come at me like, what the hell, Robert? I don't want to do that.
Well, I'm here to build it all up and then get mad at me when it doesn't happen. That's why I'm here.
And I say that because Justice Con, I was 98.9% sure that Affleck was going to show up at Justice Con.
Oh, really? You were?
Yeah, and he did. And I feel that Warner Brothers actually forced Snyder to pull back on it. I think Snyder wanted to do a lot more, and I think he was kind of like he was told to pull back.
Yep.
Does that include that Affleck couldn't be there? Well, I don't know, but I was pretty sure he would show up there.
I totally agree with that notion that Zach, he even kind of hinted towards that. Hey, I only can get this little clip, but that little clip did confirm what on my end I was hearing Black Suit Superman would be shown.
Yeah.
We did hear Steppenwolf as well, but Zach only talked about the original Steppenwolf and was able. So we got a little bit, and I think Warner Bros. Like, no, DC Fandom's gonna eclipse anything this summer. So let's hold the big guns to the end. So
for sure. Taking a look here, RC, he goes, I hope he signed. Talking about Batfleck. I'm just confused how TCN got the scoop and not bigger scoopers. That's why I'm not putting my height that high. I completely understand that, RC. Like, I get what you're saying. It's not that that they're getting this information and wanting you to get your hopes up high. TCN is putting out information that they're hearing. And again, I urge you all, when Taylor is on Lightcast, whenever he's on there, go back and listen to some of the older episodes. Yep. He discusses and talks about what his process is and making sure that this information is legit before he reveals it. I urge you guys to go do that because he talks about it. And this isn't something that he's just going to pull out of his ass and throw out there.
Exactly. But on that note, sorry, Robert, that as far as scoopers, I always bring up Mikey Sutton. Mikey Sutton, he is probably one of the bigger scoopers now. Even he gets more information than Daniel RBK at this point. A lot of the scoops that you hear, the movie industry is kind of slow right now, so you're not hearing a lot. But the Lando series, did you hear about that last week?
I did.
Donald Glover, that he's continuing. There's a spinoff from the Solo movie. Mikey Sutton had that story in November of 2019, and it wasn't just speculation. He was saying Donald Glover's back. This is the production team. This is the story they're doing, and it was confirmed, I guess, last week. So I bring him up because he is a totally separate source from the Culture Nerd, from La Hoguera de Gotham, the Spanish people that got the scoop as well with Ben Affleck. He's a separate source, Mikey Sutton, that says that they're doing the Batfleck. He's saying they're doing the script. He says they're doing the Batman script. And that he touched on the Michael Keaton. And I'm just saying, Mikey Sutton has been he's a pretty big scooper. So when people say, and I just for a second, Robert, because RC, he was in my chat. For some reason, he asked me a question. I get charged up on RC. So I'm sorry if I'm like,
you're fine, man. You're fine.
If I'm like jumping on you. But I always go to Mikey Sutton because he is actually a big scooper. He's on Facebook. He's pretty big.
Yeah. And that goes back to my point, what I was saying earlier, is whenever you're sitting there and saying, why haven't these other bigger scoopers gotten this information? Maybe you're just not looking at the right scoopers. No offense to Grace or Garza or Umberto, but sometimes they're not the best source to go to, because if you pay attention, a lot of the time they're all saying the same thing.
Yep. There's a reason for that, Robert. Yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
But you see these scoopers saying the same thing. Obviously, you want to go find somebody else who says something else or something different. And that's what I encourage you all to do, is go find these other people who are out there, because there's a whole bunch of them out there. I would have no problem. I respect Grace. I think that she's done a fantastic job. I remember, I want to say 4 years ago, I saw her YouTube channel, Beyond the Trailer, the first time. And from there till now, I mean, she's done really well for herself and getting that thing and getting popularity. She did it the right way. There's some other scoopers out there who I'm not a big fan of. I know I've talked to Garza on social media, on Twitter. I'm like, hey man, come talk to me. Let's hash this out. Let's talk about it. But he doesn't want to. I don't know why.
He does that to you? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, I don't. He just doesn't respond to me. I don't know what it is. But I kind of want to. I want to talk with these people because I want to. There's a happy medium somewhere. I can listen to what TCN says, what Taylor and everybody over there, Culture Nerd, says. I can listen to Grace. I can listen to Umberto. I can sit out there and listen to all of them, and I can then make my mind up. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to believe, and that's what I encourage everybody to do. I respect people that are in that, in the scoop game. I'm not going to lie. I would love to get into it, but in a way I kind of don't want to get into it, because
I'm about as close as you get, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I'm like, I'm going to stay where I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, I've always said, I've talked about it with a couple of people. It's kind of like, I would love to get into it because I love that rush, and it's a rush of not clout, which is the word that was the word of July, clout, not because of clout, but I get the rush because it's like, holy crap, I have information. Like I know something somebody else doesn't know. And then I'm like, do I want to tell people? Do I not want to tell people? Do I want to tell people?
Right.
It's not about clout. It's the rush comes from like, holy crap, I know stuff. And then I tell somebody, I'm like,
That's why I stick to DC, because I'm a fan. And I mean, I like other genres as well, but the people that I know, they're predominantly DC related with their information. And I'm just, as a fan, I get excited about hearing it, so that rush, that's enough for me, just finding something new, so.
Yeah, definitely. I've been wanting to find some people to talk Marvel or talk Star Wars. I actually have a Star Wars podcast as well called
really?
It's called Shooting the Sith. And I kind of, ever since, I want to say March, I kind of put it to the back burner because I focused on bridging the geekdoms. I was like, I want to focus on one, and there's been more going on in the grand scheme of pulp culture as opposed to what was going on in Star Wars. So I kind of put that on the back burner. But I would love to talk to people who are in the know when it comes to Star Wars or comes to Marvel or anything like that.
I know a few people that would love to talk Star Wars with you.
Oh, absolutely.
People, yeah. I mean, I'm more general. I mean, I love Mandalorian, obviously, but I'm not as deep. Like with DC, like I'm gonna go to the comics on you. I'm gonna, talk about the different adaptations. Star Wars, I'm a little more surface knowledge. Marvel, hit or miss. But a couple guys I know, they would talk to you for hours about Star Wars. So I have to connect you.
I'm always looking for good Star Wars talk, because that's how I am. How you are with DC, that's me with Star Wars. Like I can deep dive into Star Wars and talk for hours about it with no issue at all. And when it comes to DC, DC, I'm a huge fan of. Marvel, hit or miss, you know. And that's kind of, I mean, for me, DC is what I grew up with. The first film I ever saw in theaters was 1989's Batman. That's the first movie I ever saw. I was 4 years old.
Awesome.
Saw that movie. I fell asleep in my mom's lap, so I didn't see the whole thing. But that movie also taught me my first swear word. So,
man, that's something with the '89 Batman. Because I'm probably a little older than you. I remember the campaign rollout for 1989 Batman and the Prince album that came out with it, and just all the hype. You know, you got McDonald's cups and all kinds of stuff. Like that was just such an event, man. That you never forget. Yeah.
No, I totally remember a lot of that. I mean, I was only 4 years old, but man, what a time to be alive.
That was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome.
And, you know, I mean, I was sitting on my dad's lap when I was even younger than that, watching the reruns of Adam West Batman. And Batman was just ingrained in me. So as I grew up, you know, Batman the animated series, and you know, I'd see Batman comics, that kind of stuff. That's what drew me in. It was that character, and I kind of just evolved into a DC fan. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Marvel. I loved Spider-Man growing up. Spider-Man the animated series, X-Men animated series. Those were great shows. But I could never get into the comics. I just couldn't do it. I don't know why.
Their continuity got so messed up, like over the years, like because in the '90s it was Spider-Man with I think Joe Quesada was doing a lot of the art and stuff like that, and then Jim Lee was doing X-Men. So I was huge with X-Men in the '90s. So, but it just something kind of changed after that.
Yeah. Michael Keaton is green. Oh man, I'd actually see that. I'd watch that. Oh, come on, Steve! Don't do that. Don't do that.
That's a whole other conversation.
That is a whole other conversation, Steve. Maybe one day we'll talk. Look, I'm not going to say The Last Jedi is horrible. This is the way, and I'll say this and leave it at that for Star Wars talk. The Last Jedi would have been better had it been the first movie in a trilogy. Could have changed a few things up here and there, very small details. It would be what they need to change. It would have been a better movie to start a trilogy than to be the middle part. Because it's a middle part, it makes it that's part of the reason why I don't like it as much as I should, because it is the middle chapter when it feels like it should be the beginning chapter. That's me.
That's a good take right there. That you know, that whole divergent from the formula. That's how I looked at it. Like it was a divergent from the Star Wars formula, and maybe that wasn't a good second chapter to do that. You know, in the middle, you know, and probably do that from the start. So yeah, that's a good take.
Yeah, it's different. I know. I have this thing when it comes to movies, and I've started to realize this. I'm kind of pulling back, and where I first noticed it was actually The Rise of Skywalker. I go and watch a movie in theaters, and I come out, and I'm like, "Holy crap! It was amazing! It was fantastic! I got to watch it again. I watch it again." I never allow myself to kind of like think about it and take it in, because I'm still just. My adrenaline and my excitement is still pumping from wanting to see it, and now I finally saw it. I'm just so excited. That happened with all three of the Star Wars films that came out in that trilogy, and The Last Jedi. If anybody wants to go back and listen to some of my older podcasts, where you can find on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever, you'll find our Last Jedi review, and I praise it to the high heavens. I'm like, this is an amazing movie. But as you sit back and you realize and you start to dissect it a little bit, you start to see the flaws in it. And again, I noticed that with The Rise of Skywalker, because I saw it 3 times in theaters, and then when it came out on video, I watched it again, and I'm like, what the really? That I was excited about that. Same thing happened with Justice League. You know, I wanted so badly for that movie to be good. So
man, that's such bringing back bad memories.
Yeah, I definitely, Steve. I'll definitely, want to talk. Tomorrow is the Air Cut event.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that tomorrow, August 5th, which is the anniversary of Suicide Squad. They are doing a social media event, and Air is doing a watch along with End of Watch, I guess. I did not hear about that.
Yeah,
interesting.
Steve told me about that. Yeah.
So I don't know where that's going to be. I don't think Air uses Vero, so I have no idea where that's going to be. But I definitely think people, if you're excited about the Snyder Cut, you're probably also excited about the potential. I'll say potential of the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. We know it's coming. So jump in on the fun and the action tomorrow on social media. If you're a Twitter user, use this thing called TweetDeck. Go to TweetDeck, schedule out as many tweets as you want throughout the day tomorrow.
Good idea.
Just schedule them out, 3 every hour all day, or 10 every hour, whatever you want to do. That way we get the hashtag out there and get things out there. That way the HBO and AT&T and Warner, they all know that we want it, even though I'm 99% sure we're getting it.
It's good. It's good to support that and just to give David Ayer some support. Hey, like, we're kind of marketing for AT&T, so they like that. So
yeah, absolutely. One more question that I want to ask you, Sil, because there's a lot of talk on this here, and I know you got to go, but just one question. I'm sorry.
No problem.
What is your take on David Ayer's Suicide Squad? Like, what do you think? Do you think they're going to add Steppenwolf to it?
Well, that's just what I've been hearing. On my end is that even David Ayer admitted that during pre-production he had a model of Steppenwolf available, and they decided to scrap it and go with the story of Incubus at that point. So that model was still available to add on top, the visual effects. It's interesting because Zack Snyder at Justice Con, he talked about his previs of Steppenwolf. And I was like, was that the same model that David Ayer had? Yeah. And so it's very interesting that they could be a possible connection with them working together with that. We'll see. That's a subject of debate. But yeah, I do believe it's very possible we would get at least a cameo of Steppenwolf. I believe the third act of that movie will be very different, and I believe possibly you may see Steve from the chat in there as a cameo as well. We'll see.
Be interesting. Well, I know you got to go, man. I'll let you go. Thanks for joining me. Definitely, sometime jump on your show, jump on my show, whatever it is. Definitely do it, man. Thanks for being on. Great talking to you.
Definitely.
All right, man. See you later.
All right. I'm gonna head out just real quick. At SYLABDUL at Twitter. We do have the Facebook SYLABDUL DC. They wouldn't let me do Inc. on Facebook, and also I think that's it. All right. Instagram SYLABDUL Inc. on Instagram as well. So
all right, perfect. All right. I'll throw that in the description after this, man. So don't worry.
Appreciate it, man. Take care.
Hey, so it's just me. Going to finish up a couple things here. I do see one more question here from. Nope, that's not what I wanted. RC, there we go. What if Ayer announces Ayer cut tomorrow? I don't. I mean, I can't say it's definitely not going to happen, but I'm not going to say that should be expected. I haven't heard anything from the few people I talked to. Honestly, I didn't even know that this watch party was happening. I think if he was planning on announcing something like that, there would be more hype around this watch party going on, and there's really no hype going on right now for it. I wish I knew, because I'd be pushing it absolutely. I do expect it to be announced soon, most likely at Fandom. I do believe that's what Deborah Snyder was talking about at Fandom when she almost slipped up and said, she's working with different directors and they have something to announce soon. I think that's what she was talking about, but I don't think it's going to be at his watch party tomorrow. I mean, again, that may be unfortunate. I don't know. I kind of take it for how you want to take it, because, again, it could happen. I can't say. Again, I didn't know about the event, so I can't say it is or isn't going to happen. I hope it does. That'd be cool, but I don't know. I think at this point, anything DC related, when it comes to official announcements, we're going to have to wait for DC Fandom on August 22nd, which I think is going to be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But with that said, I do want to thank everybody, for coming on. I lost a bunch of viewers after Syl left because nobody cares about me, I guess. But thanks for coming on. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe. I hope you continue following. There is another one of me that's usually here, Colton. He is my co-host. He's got some things going on in his life right now that are kind of busy. Nothing bad. He's just got some things with his girlfriend going on, like moving and stuff like that. A bunch of stupid stuff. Nothing crazy. He's not dying or anything like that. But I hopefully will have him back on this show next week. I'm pushing for him to be on the show next week. But if you want more from Bridging the Geekdoms and from me, go to spoilerverse.com. Spoilerverse.com is where you're going to find everything you want when it comes to Bridging Geekdoms. There are also shows like Spoiler Country. You have Misery Point Radio. You have Narrative Gunslingers. A whole bunch of other shows that you can find there that are absolutely fantastic. John, who joined us in the beginning of the show, he also has his podcast Spoiler Country on there. So definitely go to spoilerverse.com. I do articles on there. I have one I hinted at or alluded to today that's going to be about Superman and Zack Snyder's Superman and how he is the quintessential version that we should all respect, because it is a fantastic characterization of Superman. So please go check that out. But with that said, thank you guys. Thanks for watching. You can find us, if you're not a big video person, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that fun stuff, because, that's where we're at. We were a podcast before we were a YouTube channel, and now we're doing a whole YouTube thing, and I'm hitting my mic and everything like that. So thanks for watching, and I will talk at you all next week.